Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Witching Hour with the Green Witch Village and the Alchemy Sisters, a podcast where you tune in to drop out. And today you have myself, Jenny, as well as Leah and Mandy, and we're going to have a little bit of conversation here, and then we're going to take you on a trilogy of journeys, one being a parallel life journey, one being a journey inside of your body, and then the next being a guided meditation. So, Leah, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It is really rainy and stormy here in Chattanooga, and with this new moon portal energy, I'm feeling really heavy and really slow, so I've had the luxury of just being able to take my time this morning to get to where I'm at this afternoon, so feeling myself coming back into my body, centering my mind, taking some time to slow down. It feels really good.
Good to hear it. Mandy, how are you doing?
Similar. I slept a lot last night. I got really tired really early, and I was like, oh, okay, and just honored it. I ended up sleeping for like 13 hours, which is really long for me, but hey, I'm a highly sensitive empath. Sometimes I need it, and I honor that. So similar to Leah, I was feeling kind of heavy. There's a big storm coming. I live in South Jersey, so I'm sure that storm that you have down there might be heading our way, Leah, but it's supposed to rain for like a couple days, so I think I'm integrating with that too. But yeah, just feeling good though. I'm feeling grateful and feeling honored to be able to integrate all these energies, just as Leah was saying. And right before our show, I was excited. I went out to my garden and had my first little harvest. I picked a couple strawberries and ate them, and they were amazing. And I made myself a bouquet with a rose and some sage and rosemary and lavender, and it smells really good. So I'm just happy to be present and be with both of you and go on a little bit of a journey. How are you doing, Jenny?
Not heavy at all. Reflective. I'm very in my head and reflecting on things that are coming up for me and things I'm journeying through. So a couple days ago I felt heavy, but I was having some funny digestion stuff. So I've kind of popped back from that, and I'm glad to be feeling lighter. So this new moon in Gemini feels very abundant and movement oriented, and it really feels like I'm managing two parts of my career at once, kind of like the Gemini is the twin and there's two faces. I feel like I'm really emerging into building a political stance, passion, career, as well as holding space like crazy in my spiritual world. So Gemini feels very in alignment with what I'm feeling as far as the two angles that are wildly different coming together for me. So I am digging it. Let's see, ladies. We have a couple topic ideas. I think I'll hand it back over to Leah, and she's going to give us a little astrological understanding of the new moon and what it means to her.
Yeah, so as I was moving through my Friday morning ritual, and even last night, I just recently started back with offering hands-on healing regularly through the week, post or in the midst of this global pause/pandemic. And so I came home last night and just, really, really heavy from being back at work. And the new moon really kind of crept up on me because I've just been really moving. And so last night I felt myself just kind of hit a wall, like it was time to stop and be in that reflective space like you were talking about, Jenny, as well. And then so this morning I carved out some space for that. And I noticed that, personally I'm feeling really tested. I'm feeling really triggered and challenged because I'm seeing myself, kind of in a lot of ways, kind of like you were saying, Jenny, like splitting on two different paths. And for me, it's not necessarily like work or a career specific as much as it is just like my life personally. Like I'm in the midst of this transition, and we all feel that globally, right? And then I got the Saturn return energy coming in hot, and so I'm feeling myself really emotionally, like just kind of recalculating and reworking my internal landscape of like, okay, energetically, what aligns and what feels good and what can help me to serve my purpose via my highest self, and where am I falling by default and kind of out of habit. And so yeah, for me, that's kind of been the practice is taking this kind of visual overall, perspective that Gemini can bring us with the two different sides of the coin, and really looking at where I'm at, where I've been, where is it that I feel called to go, and what can I allow to fall away, and then what can I really invite in wholeheartedly. And the falling away process for me, I think, is what's been so heavy because, leading up to this chapter that we're in now, I know in my personal life there's been a lot of that falling away, and I don't really know what's happening with you two personally, but even a lot of the clients I'm working with are experiencing a similar kind of transition where, kind of out of nowhere, it feels like this chapter is ended and we're moving to the next thing. And so there's this almost like a rushed process of allowing, and then the grief that has to happen with that too, And so, like Mandy said, really tapping in and allowing this to be a process for integration and just noticing and witnessing, the two sides of the coin. And again, what we can take with us, what needs to fall away, what we can tie up as far as loose ends go. And I read something really interesting about the North Node, I believe, in Gemini and how it correlates to our collective Dharma, which I thought was really interesting timing as we, watch the world begin to reawaken, if you will, after being in this stillness and this pause for however long and moving into this next chapter. And so just with that piece, taking in what it is that we want to create as we move into interacting with our world and with this society, after being in isolation and, in quarantine for as long as we have, right? Like, is everything that we were doing beforehand, is our normal actually a rush to get back to, What's important, what's in alignment, what can we leave behind, and how can we kind of alchemize this new chapter of existence as we take our time to move with these energies and into this next chapter.
That was a forecast. I can dig that, Leah. I resonate with that on all levels. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
Mandy, you have some good news for the Heart Over Ego radio team.
I do. We had just an exciting thing happen yesterday. I've been following Dr. Christiane Northrup for a long time, decades, her books. My mom used to buy her books, and she's really been just an incredible pioneer for women's health, and she's spoken her truth from the heart. She very much represents heart over ego, and she uses sometimes, laughter, but truth as well to really help create a difference in the medical world. She was a really big advocate for skin-to-skin contact, for mothers staying with for babies staying with their mothers after giving birth, all kinds of things. She's been on the forefront for a long time. And over the past few years, I realized that, Dr. Northrup is very much a light worker as well and really understands the mind-body-spirit connection. She's a Hay House author. We love Hay House. And so I was just jamming this week and listening to a lot of her talks, and she's been a beacon of light, keeping myself and a lot of other people grounded and seeing clearly. And so I made a little meme to honor some things that she said. She said she's been doing a series called The Great Awakening every day for, I think we're on day like 45 or 6 or something like that now, throughout this quarantine process. And in one of her interviews the other day, she talked about an intention that she's been setting and using because a lot of things are being revealed. Nobody knows who to trust. Nobody knows where this virus came from or what's happening. People are, getting riled up politically and everything that's happening with all of the masks and the beliefs. It's been a little rough. So an intention that she says and a prayer is, thank you so much thank you for making it so bad that nobody cannot see this anymore. And I loved that because it really is a revelation. And Jenny and I were talking about how the word apocalypse really means like lifting a veil or a great reveal of just things that are happening. And yes, it's bad and it's not fun. And we're seeing that within our individual selves. We're going into, I think, 4 retrogrades, or it already started this summer, where just like Leah was talking about, we're going to get really clear on who we are and what we believe in. And it's really important to forgive ourselves and find sovereignty. So a few of the steps that Dr. Northrup suggested to help us throughout this awakening via also the Magenta Pixie, who she's been following for a very long time, was number 1, to acknowledge the darkness. Number 2, to declare your sovereignty. And then number 3, to forgive them. And I thought it was beautiful because I just truly, in my heart of hearts, throughout my whole life, I've always been a little bit of a radical warrior of the light. And I'm like, how can we bring light and love and peace and truth to something if we don't shine the light on it, if we don't acknowledge it, if we don't know that it's there? We've watched that over and over collectively with the church right now and everything that happened with all the different arrests and the priests and the things happening. And it wasn't until people started speaking up and could really acknowledge that darkness that we were able to start healing that. Of course, there's more to be healed there, but at least it came to light. Then the next part of it is to declare your sovereignty. And that resonated with me so much because I truly believe, and we talk about it on this network all the time, that, we're very sovereign individual beings. Every relationship we have is temporary, whether it's a parent or a child or a spouse. They're all learning environments for all of us while we're down here on Earth School, and we get to give and receive as much as we want from them often. And it's important to really declare, okay, you know what? Let me tune in with my heart and see what my heart thinks is for the highest good for me right now, as opposed to what other people are saying or think or might think. And then it helps you to focus on that, because one person might get a green light, like, yep, I've got to go and fight this battle or write this book or do all this, and that might not be rising for you because you have a completely different path coming. So it's important to really honor what your heart is telling you for your highest good. And then last but not least, the biggest shift that's helping us to ascend into this new age is the idea and the concept of forgiveness. We're working really hard individually, I know, with a lot of my clients and myself, just finding deeper levels of forgiveness. Like, I had a flashback to high school the other day, and I was like, ooh, that wasn't my best day. And then I was like, I really need to meet myself with love and rock 16-year-old Mandy and be like, well, you had all this stuff going on and you were just doing the best you can. And that was the way, it expressed, and then to forgive myself. And it's going to be the same way collectively. When it comes down to it, humans are, for the most part, wanting to get back to unconditional love. And I think that's what this whole awakening is about. So once we can, set down our swords just a little bit and see that there's humans behind all of these feelings and passions, and they're coming down mostly to wanting to protect and wanting to love, and we'll stop fighting with one another and see what's really happening. So I think that within ourselves and our individual beings, and then collectively, this forgiveness theme is going to be very big over the next decade, I'm sure, longer, but absolutely within, this new moon and this summer of retrogrades.
It's very exciting. I loved that meme you made. I love that Dr. Northrup shared it on her Facebook page. So everybody listening, if you haven't already, go to Facebook, search Heart Over Ego Radio. You'll find our Facebook page. You'll see that we have a slew of shows all week long, and we're adding more as the days go by. You can also go to any major podcast app and search Heart Over Ego Radio, and you will have us at your fingertips. Many shows, many different frequencies. So we were very pleased that Dr. Northrup shared one of our very own memes, one Mandy made. And I'm glad that you broke it down to us like that, Mandy. I didn't get a chance to look at it really deeply because I had a busy day yesterday, so I'm glad you went over it with us. And again, you can see that meme on Dr. Northrup's Facebook page as well as ours. And
I wanted to give her another quick plug too. She released an edited version, or a fifth revision, I think, of Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, or Health, I think is what it's called. Either way, for all of our sensitive light workers out there, the way she described it, it's very written for you and to tune in with your bodies and whatnot. So just know that she just released that brand new edition, and that's out there if you're interested in following her.
And that's a fantastic book. One of my teachers, she's like, this is the Bible. And I've not read all of it, but have spent a lot of time kind of picking through as I need it. And it is phenomenal. And you're right. It's very easy to take in. Love that book.
Easy to comprehend. You don't have to look up every fourth word to figure out what it means. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's what we need, so that we can all hear the messages. And that's why it takes so many teachers and so many healers out there, is because people don't always resonate with one way. You've got to hear it a couple different ways before maybe you find one that resonates with you. Maybe you're on a search your whole life to find one that resonates with you. Maybe you have to make one up yourself. All kinds of options and excitement, which brings me to the idea of energy alchemy. Leah was talking about the reflection. I was talking about the reflection. This is a time for reflection. The world has almost pushed pause. It's getting opened back up a little bit more, but the earth has really pushed pause for us to have an opportunity and to almost make us reflect, which is to see where our patterns are and see what services us anymore and what doesn't. Leah hit on that a little bit. And what I've noticed is one of the things that people are noticing is that they have exceptional anxiety. Well, par for the course, right? This is a crazy time. Well, we chose to incarnate here. We knew it was going to be crazy, and we come in to have ease and grace and experiences. So I'm going to go into energy alchemy and a technique in which you can alchemize energy and become a sorceress and a magician. And it doesn't take much effort. It just takes diligence. So what you do is let's use the word anxiety or the energy of anxiety for the example. You can add any emotion that's uncomfortable in there for you, guilt, shame, fear, any of them. So what you do is you take the unwanted emotion. I'm going to remind you really quickly that you are 99.9999999% heart energy from the non-physical. These heavy energies are outside of us at the end of the day. They like that you think that they're inside of you and that they control you, but that is a facade and a good one nonetheless, very strong one. So what you do is you recognize this energy outside of you. You got a leg up on it because you've separated yourself from it, and you actually start rationalizing with yourself and it. Okay, anxiety, you are a lot like drinking poison to my body. You push my adrenals, you mess with my nervous system, my cortisol is off the chain, I'm exhausted all the time. You don't get to do this anymore, and I'm going to put my foot down. So first things first, notice it's an outside energy. Second, make sense of it. You're not helpful. You're like drinking poison. Because what happens is we fall into these patterns, like Leo was talking about, that have just been autopilot for us, and we don't think there's much wrong with it except that it doesn't feel real comfortable all the time. Well, the coronavirus is a catalyst for many things, one of which is to bring up energies we need to alchemize that have too much precedence in our bodies, that cause disease and disorder and stress, cellularly, physically, emotionally, and energetically. So become an alchemist, become an energy alchemist, and change what we would call anxiety into curiosity. The anxiety is usually thinking too much forward into the future, something you can't control anyway. So it's a waste of energy. Bring in curiosity and replace that energy and say, wow, this is an interesting time. Let's see what happens. All I can do is stay present right now and continue moving forward on my path. I get too far ahead of myself, I get anxiety. I get too far behind myself, I have depression. So they're saying stay present, and you can alchemize the energy more effectively. And this takes practice. If you've been defaulting to anxiety and worry and stress your whole life into your adult life, this is going to be a practice that you're going to have to stay disciplined to, just like if someone wants to lose 100 pounds. You have to stay disciplined for an exceptional amount of time to make this happen. It's just the velocity of it or the caliber of it. Some people have less of it in their body. Some people have more of it. You be the determiner. This is the time that we notice it's there. And once we notice it, we can start to heal it. So they're saying, go ahead and continue. And they, meaning my spirit guides, go ahead and continue feeling things. You're a human. You're going to feel it. But when the anxiety comes in, notice it for what it is. Call it out. It will sit down. When you say you are poison, you've done nothing but worry me and not change a dang thing, ran my nervous system into the wall, already an empath. So once we take control of our emotions, and we can't 100%, we are humans. We want to feel, but we don't want to let it control us. So I encourage you to be an energy alchemist. Now, everyone's like, well, I'd rather be a physical alchemist and turn lead into gold. And I say, but you can't take that with you, can you? No, you take your good habits and your good karma and your good frequencies with you. So why not work on things that are going to benefit us in the overall big picture? And if anyone learns how to turn lead into gold, get a hold of me. I want to learn. No, I'm just teasing, but seriously. We're going to start our journey. So if everyone will find their breath. And you do this by noticing your breathing. Once you bring your awareness to your breath, it makes it more amplified and more beneficial and more intense. So you get more breath when you notice your breathing. And then you can start to take deeper breaths. And the more deep the breath, the more you're going to exhale, meaning the more you breathe in light and love. And the more you breathe out anxiety and stress. And your body just does that for you all day, every day. It's your ticket to the earth and the physical incarnation, and it's your ticket to a clear energetic field. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on a little journey, and I'll just have you follow along with your mind's eye. We're going to go to the rolling hills, the field of rolling hills. You'll see it as far as your eye can see, nothing but rolling hills, perfect green grass. The sun is warm. You can feel it on your skin. You can even feel it sinking in past your skin to your bones, where it warms you from the inside out and gives you sustenance and nutrition. We're going to continue viewing the rolling hills. You'll notice there's one tree and one tree alone. You and I are sitting underneath it, knee to knee. And we're going to go on a journey. And I say, are you ready? And you say you are. And I say, close your eyes and open the eye in the center of your head, the pineal gland. Open that one. That one triggers the third eye. And here we are walking down a path. I see that it's paved and we look like we're in current times. And Spirit's going to give us a little heads up of what's going on here so we can follow along more effectively. Spirit is saying that we are going to another dimension that is also 19-20-20. And we're going to go siphon some of that winning energy, because in that time frame continuum, we did win. We did alchemize ego into heart, and we did heal the planet. So what we're going to do is go see some of us in a parallel existence and see what we're getting into, and we're going to get some information, so follow along. Up ahead, I see a large city. I can tell it's a city because there's skyscrapers, and they're very tall, and they're saying Chicago, and I say, I love Chicago. So we just keep walking toward the skyscrapers. And they say, we're going to go see Leah in a parallel existence. And then they're saying Mandy will be there too, so this is cool. So as we walk toward the city, we notice it getting closer and closer, and they're saying, do you see that tall building there? And I go, it's one of the twin trade towers. And they're like, yeah, it didn't get blown up in that time frame continuum. You want to go chill there? And I go, yeah, let's go. And so we walk to one of the trade towers, and a man opens the door, and we walk in. No one seems frazzled by this or unhinged, so we keep going. They say, go to the very top. That's where they're at. And I say, let's go. So you guys all follow me to the elevator. We squeeze in because we can. And we go to the very top floor. And as it opens into a jungle. There's birds flying. There's a freaking cougar. There are trees, and it is lush. And this does not surprise me with the water babies these girls are. So I walk in with all of you, and I see there's a bunch of people working, taking care of the plants, taking care of the animals. There's food being cooked. I can smell it. And then I see Mandy, and she has a clipboard, and she's telling everybody where to put things and what's up. And she drops her clipboard, and she looks at us. And it's like looking in her own eyes, and she turns white, and she goes, are you who I think you are? And I go, yep. You got a place where you can talk? We need some information about what to do over in this parallel 2020. Looks like you guys are a little further ahead than we are. And you are just pale again. And you say, I've never met a time traveler in this time frame continuum. And I go, well, here we are. And so you take us back to the office where Leah is. And she's back there in trance. She is not on a computer. She is in trance, and she is like channeling, and she is coming out every once in a while to write some things down. And you come busting up in the door, and Leah's like, what? What's going on? Jesus, give me a damn heart attack. Thinking you're the police. and everyone's laughing and everyone's having a good time, and you say, what's going on? And you're like, the time travelers are here. This is us in a parallel existence wanting to get information because apparently we're a little further behind in this other one. And Leah's like, the fall of the patriarchy. And I'm like, that's what we want to come and see. How did you do that? What other things can we do? And you both look at each other and you sit us down and you say, it's going to take time. There is no other element beyond pushing heart energy that you can do. The duration and the diligence is everything. Believe us, you got it. The ego wants you to think it's big, but that's just its spark. You have the momentum. You've always had the momentum. You've had it since the turn of the century. Ride that dimension into heart energy. You can do it just like you did over here. I go, all right, I can dig with that. So the whole room turns into a spinning wheel of solar plexus, yellow spinning wheel of light. It's encompassing us all. It's thrusting heartfully white light into our solar plexus, busting through, kicking out the back, and then surrounding us. What they're giving us is courage, which is what we're going to need to do, or what we're going to need to have. Be courageous. So I'm like, thank you for that. And I go, do you guys want to know what you do in this parallel existence over here? And you're like, healer. And I'm like, good guess. I go, not so far off of what you're doing right here. Very similar. And you both laugh and say, it's good that some things don't change sometimes, huh? And I go, you got that right. Even though the only constant is change, it's nice that we keep similar velocities. Big archetypes like healer, teacher, seeker, warrior. So you guys are just really happy, and you guys are like, let's walk around the jungle a little bit here and send you guys back to your dimension. And they're like, these are plants that we have grown with an exceptional amount of heart energy. So just walking around them, not only do you get typical nature energy, but it's souped up. And I go, of course it is. So we take everyone, all of us, let's go. It's just a big circle. We walk around and we're seeing monkeys and trees and just greens and ferns and flowers and herbs. And just beautiful walk around this luscious, green, abundant, lush space. I'm just going to take all that into all of our chakras, bring it up through the root, sacral, solar plexus, heart. Let it sit in that heart. It's its color. Flush it out the top, out the crown. And before you know it, we're walking on that road, heading back to the rolling fields. We're there, one tree. We're all underneath it. I say, how'd you like that? And you said you did. I say, drink that up. This is going to be our second victory. That was the taste of your first in flipping the heart over the ego in 2020. So I'm going to bring everyone back to their current space. You can wiggle your toes a little bit. And I'm going to pass it over to Leah, and she's going to take you on the next leg of the journey.
So as you begin to potentially move around in your physical body, I want you to notice where in the body you begin to feel a sense of excitement. So is it solar plexus? Is it heart? Do you feel the tips of the fingers and toes maybe tingle with the idea that you've just charged yourself up energetically with jungle prana and this courage and determination from this different dimension where we have already won? So just breathe and feel into what's happening within the physical body. And I just want you to notice right now. So we're not really doing anything with it. Just notice. And then wherever you feel that excitement, that anticipation, can you allow it to grow and expand? So it starts in your spot, wherever you're at, right? This sweet spot. And then with every inhalation, can you feel physically the body expand, but also energetically this emotion, this vibration begins to carry out into every corner of the body with an in-breath. And then the second side of that coin, as you exhale, send out its opposite, whatever is holding you in this current state of lower vibrations, right? Inhale, we expand this emotion, this feeling of courage and determination and anticipation and knowing through every facet of the body. Feel it expand across the chest. And then as you exhale, releasing that fear, that doubt, that heavy energy of like complaints, right? Keep breathing and keep feeling. And as we allow this feeling state, this emotion to grow and fill up the body, we're coming back to that idea of energetic alchemy, right? So anything that comes up for you here, the opposite that you need to release, it falls out of the body with the breath. And continue focusing on that one healing vibration, this higher vibrational energy, wherever it's at in the sweet spot in the body. As you breathe in, it expands. And then as you breathe out, we're releasing, we're letting go. And let's be here for 5 more rounds of breath, breathing on your own. Anything that comes up for you in your mind's eye, just allowing it to play out. But really focusing on this feeling, this emotion. Allow it to consume you. Allow it to shift your overall vibration. 3 more rounds of breath here, breathing on your own. One last full breath in and out. And if it works for you, holding on to this feeling, but let's take our awareness down into the root chakra. And then just feel into your Muladhara, your root chakra center. The color is red, dark and earthy. And if you see a different, like off red, maybe muddy color, breathe into that and send that color away as you breathe in the earthy, warm, red clay color that is the Muladhara root chakra. And as the color is charged, let's feel into the feet, taking the breath from the pelvis into the thighs, the knees, and then the calves, all the way down into the soles of the feet. And feel yourself growing these roots, but can you intentionally plant roots not only in the earth, but in courage and in determination, and in knowing that the path we're on is exactly where we're supposed to be. Visualizing roots growing out of the physical body, out of the energetic body, into the earth. Perhaps they're even charged with that solar plexus color. Courage from this other dimension. Knowing that we're doing the work and trusting that we will win. Heart over ego is on its way. Take 5 more rounds of breath here. Two more rounds of breath here. And then let's pull our awareness back into the soles of the feet. Feel the energy pulse and vibrate here. Feel how your vibration has shifted. And then we pull our awareness into the right calf, the left calf, right knee, left knee, right thigh, left thigh, solar plexus, solar plexus, solar plexus. Right side of the rib cage, left side of the rib cage. Right shoulder, left shoulder. Right elbow, left elbow. Palm of the right hand. Palm of the left hand. Heart center. Awareness in the back of the neck. Right side of the head. Left side of the head, crown of the head. crown of the head, crown of the head. Breathe into the crown of the head, inhaling, feeling the space expand, and exhaling, softening into your meditation, into your seat. 4 more rounds of breath like this. Inhale to expand, and exhale to soften. Inhaling, expanding, exhaling to soften. 1 more round like this. Inhale, expanding through the crown chakra. And exhaling, softening the physical body. Awareness in the heart space. Awareness in the solar plexus. Breathe into the color of courage, of determination, of trust, of knowing. From here, feeling those roots connecting to the earth, charged by that courage, determination, that trust, that knowing. And then breathing back up into the crown of the head, feeling the crown chakra expand to receive even more of that courage, that trust, that knowing. 5 rounds of breath here, just feeling the shift in the body. Can you soften more deeply so that you can receive more deeply? Can you give yourself permission to allow? Can you give yourself permission to trust? Can you give yourself permission to be guided? 2 more rounds of breath here. And then one last time, take a full breath in through the nose. And I invite you to open the mouth as you exhale, release, sigh it out. And then maybe you begin to move around just a touch here, wiggle fingers, toes, maybe flutter the eyes open, roll out through the neck. Bring the physical body and preparing for this 3rd round of your journey as I gently pass you over to Mandy for this next chapter.
That felt so good, and I'm feeling so grounded, and I hope all of you are as well. So as we shift energies just a little here, I want to bring us back to the jungle where Jenny started us off. We saw that magnificent cougar. As you're standing in the jungle, you notice that your feet are bare. I don't even remember having shoes on in the last ones, but my feet feel so good on the bare earth right now. They start to pulsate and warm up. You feel the sunlight start to tickle the tops of your feet. It feels warm and electric. You feel some slow pulses coming from the earth into your feet. It feels bright and light and warm. It activates through your heels and up through your calves, swirls around into your knees, dances through your thighs, swirls an infinity symbol of energy through your hips and your solar plexus and your womb space, and wraps around your lower spine. You feel it just starting to light up and be nourished and activate. And this beautiful grounding earth energy continues to swirl all around your lungs and your chest. You take a nice deep breath and you feel it expand more. Your heart starts to smile. Your shoulders start to relax as this energy swirls and twirls and runs down through your arms and elbows, in and out through your palms, As it moves through your palms, you feel your heart tingle a little extra, as our palms are an extension of our heart chakra. The energy moves and caresses your neck. You feel alive, you feel grounded, you feel like your head starts to get really light and almost a little airy, almost lightheaded, but it feels so grounded and so nourishing at the same time. Like Mother Earth herself is gifting you wonderful life force energy. And you feel it expand. It fills up your third eye and your mind. And it starts to come right up out of your crown. And as it comes out of the crown, you slowly look up and see this beautiful ray of light just connecting between you and the earth and the heavens. And the light just continues infinitely. So you take a breath and you look down and say, wow, this must be what that grounding feels like that they're always talking about. And you suddenly feel a breeze. And it gives you a gentle nudge and encourages you to look over your shoulder. When you look over your shoulder, you see this beautiful sparkling light. It starts to come closer to you. As it comes closer to you, you start to feel a little giggly and fuzzy and happy. This doesn't feel like a threatening energy. You're not scared, you're more curious. So as this beautiful sparkling energy gets a little closer, you realize that it's a fairy or a pixie of some sort. And you say, hello. And she says, hello. I'm one of your spirit guides. I know you wanted to know who I was. I see your curiosity. And you say, yes, I've never seen something like this. You say, you used to see me more when you were younger. She says, my name is Lavender, and I've always been a guide. I've always been there with you throughout all of your incarnations, and I'm here with you in this one now. I'm here to help you to acclimate to peace, to adjust as you get ready to lead from the heart. You just look at her in awe. She says, it's okay. You don't have to say anything. Is it okay if I take you on a journey, though? We're going to leave the jungle. There's something I want to show you and some people I want you to meet. And you say, okay, let's go. And you can't even contain the happiness in your heart, and you're smiling, one of the biggest smiles that you've ever felt. So you say, okay. And all of a sudden, from the sky in front of you here in the jungle, this giant rock starts to come down. And it's huge. It looks like it could be some sort of way to travel or something that you could enter inside of. As it comes down and lands very gently on the earth, it breaks open. And you realize it's a huge amethyst geode. And Lavender says, well, that's our ride. And you just look at her thinking, how? But you're so happy and so blissful and you feel so safe. You just say, okay. And you start walking along. You look down at your beautiful bare feet. And as you feel them walking across the earth, you feel how rejuvenated you are and how lit up you are from all of the amazing earth energy that you grounded into. So you're walking and you're feeling light and amazing and you're about to take a journey in a geode. And this is awesome. So you and your spirit guide Lavender go in, and the geode closes. And she says, all right, let's get ready. Close your eyes. So you take a breath and you close your eyes. And she says, okay, we're here. And you open your eyes and you say, we're here. I didn't even feel anything. And she says, well, what did you expect to happen? And you said, well, I thought it'd be like Willy Wonka when you shoot up somewhere and go somewhere. And she says, oh, yes, well, maybe we can do that next time. But we already got there, so let's not waste any more time. So you both laugh and giggle, and the geode opens. And you look out, And it looks similar to what Jenny was talking about in her journey, where she always likes to start her meditations. There's these beautiful green rolling hills, sparkling light, hay and grass blowing in the wind. You step out. Lavender says, well, come on, let's get going. Okay. And you start walking. And you say, do I need shoes for this? And she says, oh, no. Most people don't have shoes where we're going. So you start walking. And as you're walking through this beautiful grass, suddenly a road appears. And the road is soft and sandy. A few loose rocks and gravel, but it doesn't hurt your feet. You feel amazing and warm. And as you're continuing to walk along the path, Lavender says, there it is. And you see a town, a small little village. It looks old. As you keep walking, you say, where are we, Lavender? She says, well, I took you to a small village. It's in Northern Europe. Northern Europe? I've never been to Europe. Well, you are right now. And as you walk and you get closer, you say, well, where are all the cars? And she says, oh, it's 1303. 1303? She's like, yeah, like the year 1303, you say? She says, yes, there's some people I want you to meet. So you say, okay. And you start walking and you're in awe. Well, okay, I'm walking through something in the 1300s. This is insane, but I'm going to go, and this is fantastic. So you walk and you enjoy, and you start to see some flowers and some roses. In the distance, there's a big field with some cows and some goats nearby. As you keep walking, you see some more farms. And as you get closer, there's a couple more houses. And it seems as though you're entering a village. So you walk down into the village. And Lavender says, well, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And you say, I don't know. What should I be doing here? And Lavender giggles and says, I know, I brought you here. I was just curious if you had anything to say. So she brings you and says, I want you to come to this house to meet some of your friends in another journey, in another lifetime. And you say, okay. And so you start to walk towards this house, and there's this black gate, and it's rough, and it's made of metal of some sort. It looks different. It's the 1300s, so who knows? So Lavender flies over to the gate, and she opens it, and it creaks open. And as you walk forward, you realize it's really hard to see what you're walking into because there's so much vegetation growing. Ivies as far as the eye can see. Beautiful flowers. And as you walk, you see some tulips starting to line a path and some daffodils. And you think, well, even though it's in the 1300s, it must be springtime. And you start to enjoy the adventure, and it smells amazing. And you smell something so good coming from the house. You say to Lavender, it smells like cinnamon and smells like thyme and fresh herbs. And she says, yes, well, you're coming to a healer's house. And you said, oh, I was just there. I was just there recently meeting some of my healers, but in the future, in a different lifetime. And Lavender says, yes, well, this time you're going to come into the past. So you get excited and you step up. And as you walk up to this beautiful door, it's made of wood, and engraved in the middle of it, there's a beautiful sun. And coming out of that sun is a flower that turns into a long, beautiful ivy of some sort. And you get lost in the pattern of the door and what this looked like when all of a sudden it opens. And you hear, hello, we've been waiting for you. Come in. And when you walk in, Lavender says, these are your friends, Leah and Jenny, that you walked into and met in your last journey. However, in this journey, their names are not Leah and Jenny, but for the sake of confusion, we will call them Leah and Jenny. And you say, okay, well, what is this place and why am I here? And Leah says, well, come. You're here to be healed. And what you're smelling are some of the first concoctions that I worked with while creating my newest creation, the Green Witch Village. And you say, okay. So you walk in and Leah says, it seems like you've been traveling and you've been through a lot. Are you ready for a little rest? And you say, yes, I am. So you sit down and Leah pours you a cup of tea. And you take a sip and say, this is the most delicious tea I've ever tasted. And Leah says, oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And you ask, what's in it? And she says, a blend of all kinds of things. And you're talking about cinnamon and cardamom that you got from Jenny when she came back from a journey she was on recently. And you added in some things that you grow, like lavender and thyme. There's some oregano to help heal, all kinds of little things. And then you say, would you like to know my secret ingredient? And Leah says, okay, I'll share my secret ingredient. And she says, this is a secret recipe and it takes a long time. I tell everybody it, but they just don't seem to understand it or know how to integrate it. And you say, okay, well, what is it? And she says, the secret ingredient is unconditional love. And you say, well, how does that work? And you say, well, as I make my recipes, as I make my tea, as I grow my beautiful herbs, I pour unconditional love into them at all times. I don't judge them if they're growing differently or crookedly. I look at them and know that they are working perfectly within this universe. And I send them love and gratitude. And when I harvest them, I send them love and gratitude for growing and for helping me to nourish my body and for helping the people of the village to nourish themselves. And it looks like you needed a little extra dose of unconditional love from wherever you've traveled from. Leah says, I've met time travelers before, so I know they're from all over the place, but wherever you came from, the energy I feel off of you, it feels a little heavy, and it looks like you could use some unconditional love. Would that be okay? And you say, yes. And you say, so what is the secret to that? How do you experience that? How do you feel that? And Leah says, unconditional love is really a beautiful thing that can only be created from within. And you have to know that your heart energy and the energy within your heart truly does have the power to change your world and those around you. You need to meet yourself with love and forgiveness and understand that everything is taking place for a reason. And when there are things that don't feel in alignment, that is for a reason too. And often a little niggle to pour some extra unconditional love, forgiveness, and understanding around it. And just hearing her words, you start to smile and feel absolutely amazing. And the tea starts to warm you up. And you say, wow, I feel a lot better now and a lot more rested. And Jenny says, good, because I really want to share this journey I was just on recently. And everybody starts to giggle and you start to walk outside into the beautiful garden. And Jenny says, I just got back. I was at this incredible bazaar in Spain. And you say, a bazaar? And she says, yeah, a bazaar. It's like a gathering of all these people. They come together and they sell their things. And you can buy so much. And there's so many things that I don't get to see often except for when I travel. And you can tell clearly that Jenny lives for this. And it brought her so much joy. And she says, come, I think I have some gifts for you. So as you walk around the garden, she leads you to the back where there's this area. And there's a beautiful arch, and there's these wonderful, amazing flowers trickling down off of them. And they're orange and bright and incredible, but delicate. So you walk under the orange arch, and you walk back into Jenny's beautiful little area of heaven, is really what it feels like. And you see rose bushes and cactuses and rocks and smaller rocks. And as you start walking back, you see a maze of a pathway, a labyrinth is what you remember them calling it, all kinds of things. And Jenny says, wow, I've got your attention, don't I? yes, there's just so much. And she says, well, come, there's something I want for you. So she takes your hand and you start walking in a circle through this labyrinth. And all of a sudden it drops you down into the earth, underneath the earth, into this beautiful dome. It's a little chilly and cooler, but it's absolutely beautiful and magnificent. And though it's dark, it has a sparkle to it. Then Jenny says, hang on, let me light a couple candles. So she lights a couple candles, and all of a sudden you see colors that you can't even put your mind around. Every single possible color you can possibly imagine, just illuminating and swirling and twirling around you in this space in Jenny's beautiful healing underground dome. And she walks up to you and she grabs your hands and she says, for your journey in this lifetime and past lifetimes and parallels and others, I want you to have these. And she hands you what feels like a rock. So you open it up and you look at it, and it's dark, and it's got some white coming through it. And you say, what is this? And she goes, obsidian. This is some obsidian that I got at this most recent bazaar. And I've been taught that it will protect you, and it will stay with you as long as you need it. And if at any point you don't need it, it will release itself from you, and it will find a new owner. And you say, oh, my goodness, thank you. And then she says, wait, I have one more. And you come back and you say, okay. And she walks over to, she says, no, wait, I have two more. So she gets two and she comes back and she puts them in your hand and you look down. And one is this absolutely beautiful, magnificent green color. And she says, what is this? And she says, malachite. Malachite, what is that? She says, this one is very powerful and very potent, and you want to be very careful. You don't want to get it wet, but you want to keep it near you. And this one's not going to stay very long. This one's going to stay with you, and it's going to help you to adjust to some peace and to release traumas and dramas and all kinds of things that are no longer serving you. And when you're ready, one day you'll wake up and it won't be there. And that'll mean that it was time for you to release it. And you say, okay. And then the next one she hands you is absolutely stunning. And it's white and translucent with hints of blue and pink and all kinds of sparkle. And you say, what is this? And she says, this is angel aura. This is one of my favorite stones, and I absolutely love it and wear it often myself. She says, I want you to have this because as you transcend time and dimensions and constructs within your mind, it'll help you to expand and open up more into even more unconditional love. And you say, thank you so much. This was absolutely amazing. Jenny bows to you, and you both lift back up to the earth and start walking through the house. Leah says, how was that? Did you find anything fun from the bazaar? And everyone giggles, and you say, yes, I did. And you walk back out, and you walk out to the street where the amethyst portal is. Wave goodbye to Jenny and to Leah, and you step into the amethyst portal. And Lavender says, did you enjoy your journey? And you said, I sure did. And she says, from here, close your eyes, and you can go anywhere you want to go. You can go back to the jungle, back to your room, back to your current life. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you all for tuning in and joining the Alchemy Sisters in Greenwich Village today on the Witching Hour.
Welcome to the Witching Hour, where you're invited to tune in and drop out. Join us and settle in as you're guided through a trilogy of healing journeys to awaken, connect, and inspire. This is the Witching Hour.